Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Football Roundup. Today we have a pretty long episode because there's been a lot of football this week, especially with the Champions League coming back, and that's actually where I want to start off. So the first big game that happened this week was United going up against PSG. Surprisingly, I did think that United had a good chance of winning. I know that they weren't, going into this game off of a lot of good performances in the Premier League. They've been struggling a lot. There's been a lot of criticism on Ole, but I don't know, I just felt that they were up to the challenge. I don't think PSG is that good of a team, no matter how many superstars they have. So the game starts, and of course, United with another penalty. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of, I know there's a lot of hate already just because of the amount of penalties that United have got. And surprisingly, Bruno missed. He missed his first chance, and it was about to be his second penalty missed in a row. He has like 19 for them consecutively. He was doing well, and he missed this one, but luckily the ref decided to retake the penalty because of that rule that I just hate, man. It's not practical, man. They don't want the goalies to take any step forward at all, and Kaylor has a brilliant save. Such a great goalie, and it's really harsh because now the player has another chance to score, and a penalty already is such an advantage for the penalty kick taker. So Bruno ends up scoring it. United are up, and then later on in the match, Martial scores a brilliant header. Unfortunately, it was against United, so Anthony Martial scores an own goal, and it was 1-1 most of the match. Wan-Bissaka had a great match, just tackles left and right, man. I remember before he went to United, I never knew about him, and then as soon as he went to United, I was like, oh, okay, who is this player? Since the very first game I saw him in United, I loved the way he played. He's a great player, and he played amazing against PSG. I think he slid for like every chance, like every ball that he could tackle, he did. And he got ball most of, like 90% of the time, he got the ball. And he had such a great game. It was a little bit interesting for Rashford because personally, I don't think he had a good game at all. He had a lot of poor decisions that he made. He had a couple chances where he should have been more, I guess selfish would be the right way to say, where he should have gone forward and tried to take the shot, and he seemed like he was more willing to pass, more willing to not try to force the goal for himself, and I don't think he had a good game, but that's how it is with great players no matter what, and especially strikers and forwards. They can have a bad game all 90 minutes, but in stoppage they'll find their goal, and Rashford ended up doing something similar, had a pretty bad game throughout the whole match, but in the 88th minute, I believe, he scored it was a great goal, man. He basically bombs it into the bottom corner, man, and that ends up winning United the game, and Rashford, good for him, he found his goal. United probably get their most important win of this group. Another big match in the Champions League was Real Madrid going up against Shaktar. I honestly thought Madrid was going to do better. After coming to find out that Shaktar didn't even have a lot of their first team players, I was actually even more surprised because, well, Real Madrid did end up losing 3-2. All three goals from Shaktar were scored in the first half. Varane with another own goal. I'm not sure what's going on, man. I feel like if Ramos isn't there in the back, Real Madrid just loses any kind of leadership, any kind of structure in defense, and they really need Ramos, and they really need a solid player to replace him when he leaves. And I personally thought that would be Varane, but it looks like he might need a better partner to help him out in the back. And he scores an own goal. Shakhtar gets their third. I can't believe it. I'm kind of looking at Zidane, wondering what he expected, because he made a couple substitutes, a couple changes here and there. For example, Jovic was starting up front, and I personally was a huge supporter of Jovic. I thought he would be a player that, might not come in and start banging in the goals, but probably a couple games after he would find his rhythm and score, and it hasn't worked out. He knows it hasn't worked out, but I'm always of the belief that you could have bad games, and you could have consecutive bad games, but eventually you'll get comfortable, you'll find your rhythm, and it just looks like Jovic has not been able to find his rhythm. I feel like he actually hurt Madrid a lot more than helped. I remember later, towards the end of the match, Benzema came in and tried to help, and it felt like Jovic was actually ruining their plays, for example, just ruining the combinations between the team, whether it was a simple 1-2 pass or not giving the ball for a runner. And I don't know, I think Zidane realized that he made a couple of tactical errors, but we'll see. Another big match in the Champions League this week was Bayern going up against Atletico. This match was really interesting because obviously Atletico is very organized in the defense, very strict in terms of positioning, very strict in terms of how to pressure, of when to pressure. For the first 45 minutes, it was basically all Bayern, but they weren't able to score. And Atletico's used to this. They're used to not having the ball. They're used to being pressed a lot. They just had nothing for them going forward. Suarez wasn't at the best that he could be, and eventually they just couldn't hold on. Bayern ended up scoring, and once they scored their first goal, I believe it was Kingsley Coman. Once he got his goal, it was just all Bayern. They ended up scoring 4 in the second half. And I know Simeone is probably looking at his team knowing that it's not enough to compete. But we'll see how they reinforce themselves in coming January, and they still look like one of the 2 teams that are going to qualify from their group. It's just, this was probably the hardest match against one of the toughest opponents in the whole tournament. And Bayern looks like they might actually try to repeat. They might be able to win it back to back. I know this last Champions League was a little weird because of COVID, but Bayern did win the Champions League with a perfect record. That's no small feat, no matter what. And the way they're playing still, the players that they have, the philosophy that they play with, they could very well be the second team to repeat it in the modern era of the Champions League. Okay guys, now in the Premier League, West Ham played Manchester City. It was a game that City was hoping to win, especially after having a lot of their key players come back. De Bruyne was back, Aguero was back, and unfortunately they weren't able to get those 3 points. West Ham ended up scoring first, and Man City ended up tying pretty early in the second half, but neither team was able to find a win. Manchester City, of course, dominating possession, dominating amounts of shots taken, but it just wasn't enough. And at this point, I don't know what's going on with City. It looks like Guardiola's struggling. It looks like Man City struggling, and I just don't see them challenging for the title this year. Another big game this weekend was Southampton going up against Everton. I really thought Everton was going to keep their unbeaten run. I thought they would definitely beat Southampton, but apparently Southampton came out to play. They didn't want to lose, regardless who their opponent was, and Everton lost their first defeat of the season. So there's still no team that's going to finish the league unbeaten anytime soon. So I guess Arsenal still holds that title for the Invincibles, but Everton is still top of the league. Now back to United. They played Chelsea this weekend. I was kind of bummed out that Cavani didn't play against PSG. I thought that would have been pretty cool if he came back to play against his old team. But he played against Chelsea and kind of wanted him to start, but he came off the bench. And his first touch of the game, he almost scored, and I was almost like, wow, United finally made a good signing, you know? Cavani's a great striker. When he's in form, he's definitely one of the best strikers in the world, definitely. An elite striker, for sure. I don't think anyone can argue that. He comes on, he provides a certain presence that United haven't had in a while, especially when they've been playing without a number 9. I guess they just don't want to play Gallo in the Prem for some reason, but it's fine. Cavani is definitely going to score goals. I definitely want to see more crossing coming forward. I don't think United have a lot of great players that can make great crosses or set up Cavani like how he was used to at his other teams. Hopefully him and Bruno end up getting along. and Bruno can end up providing a lot of assists for Cavani, and hopefully Ole finds out a system that works best to set up Cavani so he can score and finish. Now over in Spain this weekend we had a Clasico. I was so happy that Real Madrid won. I know that they came off of a loss to Cadiz, the newly promoted team. Not only that, to losing the Champions League right after their loss against Cadiz. Everyone was expecting Barcelona to win, or I should say a lot of people were, because Barcelona ended up winning in the Champions League. Getafe, the team that they lost to before, is not a second division team coming up. They were a pretty established first division team. They did pretty well last season, so people expected Barca to be, I guess, a little bit, better mentally, better physically, better tactically. So it was understandable for people to think, hey, Barca has a chance. And Real Madrid was missing a couple players, but Real Madrid just was the better team, and I personally felt that before the match. I was telling a couple friends that Real Madrid was better suited to win, especially when Ramos was coming back, and you could see the impact he had. He had a great game. You could also see the difference that was made from players like Benzema playing. These type of players just help the team flow and move. Kroos had a decent game. Modric looked more involved this game as well. In this game, we had Ansu Fati scoring for his first goal in a Clasico, and Ansu's just, you could tell this player is going to be a special player. He fits very well into the Barcelona system. He knows how to score. He knows where to look for teammates. He can show a little bit of flashiness here and there, and he's still very young. I know that Messi will guide him and help him evolve as a player. He gets an early goal, tying it up right after Valverde scored after a great play from Raul. But there was really only one team that was going to win this game, and it was Real Madrid. Sergio Ramos comes in, scores a penalty, great goal. Modric at the end seals it with a nice goal, but it was all Real Madrid. They're looking like they're going to win the league. I hope they do. I don't think there's a team that's out there in La Liga that's better than them. I don't think Sociedad's better. I don't think Atletico's better. I don't know where Barcelona is going to finish. They look like they might not even finish in the top 4, but they for sure will at least hope to get into that Champions League spot, because there's no way they can afford to miss out on the Champions League. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching another episode of Football Roundup. I'm glad we have more football now. I'll see you guys next week on the next Football Roundup.